put our flamingo in the street. So I'm going to copy the flamingo. Make sure you are selecting the flamingo, copy it, and we are going to paste it here. So you want our flamingo to be behind this building and in the street, in the crossing of the street. So I'm going to bring it down to be behind this building, just like this. And then we are going to scale it. But as you can see, there are many things in the street. We need to remove them. There are people and there are some of the traffic sign and stuff. So we are going to remove them by using the clone tool, healing tool, and also the selection tools. So for now, I'm going to disable the flamingo. And then I'll zoom in. Now there is one thing that we need to do before we remove stuff. This traffic sign that you see, we need to cut it out because you want our flamingo to be behind it. So I'm going to select the background, make sure that background is selected. And then I'm going to make a path around this traffic sign to make a selection out of it. Select the background and then go to the pen tool. And we are going to start somewhere here. Okay, from here is good. Make sure you bring down the opacity so it doesn't distract you. And make your path around this sign. I'm going to speed up this a bit. If you want, you can watch me doing this, or you can skip it as well, just like the other ones. We are about to finish the path around this traffic pole. The next thing will be selecting our layer and then Command and click to make a selection. After we make the selection, we will select the background and then we will copy and paste. Command C, Command V to paste it, just like this. Now we have the traffic pole in a separate layer. I'm going to rename this path layer. I will name it pole. Now I will press on the command and click on it to make the selection again. Then go to the pole layer and make the layer mask. Double click on it, you will have these settings. I'm going to play with the radius just to refine our selection. Radius will be 1 and smooth will be 7. Now I will move the pole selection, disable it and move it to the selection folder. We don't need it anymore. I will enable the background and I will disable the pole. Now we need to remove all of these people from the street. We only want the crossing lines on the street. I'm going to use the lasso selection tool and I'm going to cut these lines. Select them, copy, Command C, Command V. Now we have it in the new layer and I will put it over here. We don't need this pole because you already have it in a new layer. So I'm going to fit it here. I'm using Command and selecting these handles to secure it like this. I'm just trying to fit with other lines. Now I want to warp it. I will right click on one of the handles and choose warp. Now we have much more control over this layer. Okay, like this is good. I'm going to choose the move tool and then I will make a mask on this layer. Then I'm going to use the brush tool and the black color to remove the unwanted areas. And we are trying to match this with the ground. So I'm going to remove the edges. I need more area to remove it and match these two. That's why I'm going to stretch the layer to the right side. I'll press on the shift and stretch it like this. And now go back to the paint tool, and if we remove it, as you can see, we are matching both of them. Just to remind you, make sure that the layer mask is selected and you are using the black color. For my brush, the opacity is 54 and the flow is 57. Now I'm going to cut another part from the street, which is this one. Select it, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then we will move it over this person. Just like this, and we need to stretch it. Press on the shift and stretch it like this. Now we will select our layer and make a mask on it. Just like the other one, we are going to use the brush tool to remove the unwanted areas. I will stretch it a bit like this. So I'm trying to remove the sides very carefully. Now I'm going to select this one and we are going to remove it. As you can see, I'm painting on the layer actually, not on the mask. So I'm going to Ctrl Z, make sure that you're selecting the mask, and now we will remove this just like this. Now they are matching somehow. It is good, but we are going to make it better. Let me enable the Flamingo and see. I will enable the pole and the Flamingo, both of them. Now we need to move the pole above the Flamingo, but before that I'm going to name it pole and move it above the Flamingo. Now we give the illusion that the Flamingo is on the street, but still we need to remove a lot of other stuff from the street. Let me disable the Flamingo and the pole, and we are going to remove what is left on the street. And we are going to start with these two people. Make sure you are selecting the background layer, and we will use the clone tool. I will press on the command and click on this area to clone it, and then I will paint over this person. In order to be very precise, I'm going to take my clone from the closest point of the person. For example, for the feet, I'm going to clone it around the feet and paint over the feet. And for the back is the same. For the head, I'm going to clone it from here. So basically this is the process. You will take your clone from the closest point of your object, and then you will paint over your object that you want to remove. I'm going to remove the head just like this. There are times that your clone is not working the way that you want. You have to undo it and then take the clone from somewhere else. Let's remove this young lady. Here we want the continuation of this line, so I'm going to clone the line and paint over it like this. And the rest will be the same. As a first step, I'm going to clean this with the clone tool, and later I'm going to copy the crosswalk from the other side and paste it over here. But let's clean it now with the clone tool as much as we can. Okay, let me finish this one, remove all of the body. Okay, let's remove this as well. Okay, let's finish this as well. I'm going to clone this line, the white line. Clone it again, and yeah, like this is good. I'll just clean up here. Okay, now let's remove these as well. Let's remove the shoes. Okay, and then you are going to remove the head and the upper part of this traffic pole. Let's start with this one, with this man. I'm going to clone this line and paint over his face. Just like this. Okay. So guys, as you can see, I'm trying to clone whatever object is behind the object that you are trying to remove. So I'm trying to clone it and put it over the object that you want to remove. So like this, we will have the continuation of the background and we will remove our subject very precisely. Okay guys, I think that's enough because this pole we already have it and this part of the pole will be under the pole that we just separated from the background. So if I go and enable it now, let's go to the layers and I'm going to enable this pole. Now the other pole is disappeared, so we don't need to take our time and remove it. Now I want to refine this part that we copied and paste here. Right click on it and warp, and I'm going to refine it, make sure that it fits with the other lines. And in the next step I'm going to match the lighting, so I'm going to add the levels to this too. Add level, and we can play with the levels, but first we need to clip mask it. Press on the Alt and clip mask it like this. Now it's only affecting the layer below it, which is this one. I'll keep it something like this, and then I'm going to duplicate it. Command J and bring it down, clip mask it to the layer below, and now you're going to play with the color, the lighting of this layer as well. Let's see. I think we are good, but there is something about these lines. I want to make them straight like this. So these three are not straight like the other lines. I want to cut them. I'm going to use the clone tool again and make sure you are selecting the background. Now clone from the nearest place and paint it over it. Just like this. I'm going to refine these street edges as well because it's not normal and we didn't clone it very well. It's still obvious, so I'm going to zoom in and make sure that we have something acceptable. Okay, like this we are good. But I'm still not satisfied with the crossing line. I'm going to select the crossing line of the left side and paste it over here in the right side. So let's move to the left side. I'm going to use the lasso tool to select these lines. I'm going to select 3 of them so we can match with the other 3. Command C and Command V, and we're going to move it over the other side. I'll try my best to fit it with these other lines. I'm pressing Command and playing with these handles to stretch it like this. By the way, Command on Windows is Control. Let's keep it like this. Double click on it, go to the brush tool, make a mask on your layer, and use the black color to remove it. But as you can see, it's not matching very well. I'll press on the move tool, press V, and pressing on the command or control to match it. Now go back to the brush tool and remove these sides. I'll just move it like this. So you also try your best to match it as much as you can. I think like this it's good. Now we can bring our flamingo back. But before we do that, let's group all of these part of the street that we just created with the background. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm pressing on the shift and press on the first layer and the last layer. Like this you will select all of them, then Command J to group them. Now I'll name this background and we can convert it to the smart object actually. Right click on it and convert it to the smart object. Okay guys, this is the end of this lesson. In the next lesson we are going to bring our flamingos in this street. See you there.